Okay. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unity of London on this beautiful July 4th day. And so we welcome all of you who are here today, and I see there's a number of people that are regulars that are missing today, so I'm sure that they are out enjoying this beautiful day. But I'd also like to take this time to welcome Ron. I see that you're here online today, so that is great. Also, nice to see you, Catherine Bro, after your big surgery. And I see Tom out there on his iPad. We don't see his face, but we see that fence and that view. So welcome as well, Tom. So here at Unity of London, we have a vision for this gathering and for this group. And it is a world powerfully transformed through the growing movement of shared spiritual awakening. And that is the vision for many, many Unity churches worldwide. So, what world do you envision, or words that are relative for you and for our listeners? So our mission is to co-create with Spirit to transform lives through shared spiritual awakening. And these points that are coming up on your screen, those are just some of the ways that you can transform lives through spiritual awakening by being a loving, inclusive, supportive community, by promoting self-expression, by living what we believe, which is the 5 principles, by inspiring people to make a positive difference in the world, and providing fellowship and education for spiritual seekers in all walks of life. So today we have breakout rooms following the service. Actually, I will reword that. We have a breakout room, and our prayer chaplain today is Dawn. I don't see Sylvia Vanderhook on today. I believe that she's still up in Northwestern Ontario. So is there anyone here who would like to have prayer right now, or later on rather? Okay, well, if you would like to have prayer with Dawn, then just go down to the bottom and in the chat box, just leave a little message saying that you would like to have prayer. And that Larry will arrange that for you at the end of the service. Okay, so today as we go into prayer ourselves, as we come together on this beautiful summer day, we are grateful for the opportunity to spend this time with our Unity community. So if you can just relax, close your eyes if you wish, and make that conscious connection with the divine spirit within. And today, during this first week of July, our power for the month is understanding, which is the ability to know, perceive, and apprehend. Understanding is located in the front of the brain. And together we affirm quietly, my understanding of truth deepens and directs my life. My understanding of truth, and that's truth with a capital T, deepens and directs my life. And so today we bless everyone attending all spiritual gatherings, knowing that there are many paths to the one God. We bless all those watching online and all those at home who are using this day to take care of themselves or their families or to celebrate on this beautiful day. We especially bless the people in the village of Linton, BC, who lost their homes in a massive fire this week, and for all of the other people in British Columbia who are experiencing that hot weather and a huge number of fires. We bless all Canadians too who celebrated Canada Day, and especially those who chose to reflect in solidarity with our Indigenous people. We pray that we can all develop a deeper level of understanding about these situations. Today, we also bless our neighbors to the south who celebrate Independence Day on the 4th of July. We lift up anyone who is experiencing any challenges, trusting that the highest and best is unfolding for them, and that the love of the divine spirit is surrounding them right now. We take this opportunity to hold anyone that you wish in blessings and prayer, and to speak their names quietly into this space. We bless our fellow Unity churches, Unity Church of Mississauga and Unity Spiritual Center of Windsor. And so as we move forth into the day, we understand and affirm that I am one with all that is. And so it is, and so I let it be. Amen. Okay, Nancy Youngston, our platform assistant, will now share today's daily word.
In thought, word, and action, I celebrate my freedom. There are many ways to feel free. I may work hard to become financially free. I may plan trips so I can freely explore the world. I may commit to learning for intellectual freedom or exercise my body for greater freedom of movement. And even as I do my work in the world to know freedom, I remember that I am always free at the level of spirit. No situation or circumstance has power over me. Every day and in every area of my life, I live from my divine nature, where I am wholly and completely free. Through my inner powers of understanding and faith, I recognize and embrace empowering beliefs. My spiritual gifts of strength and release keep me on course and help me feel free myself from the habits that derail my spiritual growth. Through God within, I am grateful to be free. And from Galatians chapter 5, verse 1, for freedom, Christ has set us free. And now I'd like to introduce today's speaker. Pauline Duncan Thrasher is a past president of our board of directors at Unity of London and a co-partner of our spiritual leadership team with Sylvia Vanderhook. Pauline joined Forest City Toastmasters in 1978. I don't know that. She's not old. It took her more than 5 years of yearly competition at club, area, division, and opportunity to represent Canadian Toastmasters about Canada. On July 1st, 1990, Pauline spoke outside Parliament Hill in the capital city of Ottawa, Canada. The title of her speech then was Vision and Valor. The title of her speech, Vision and Valor. Today, she represents us as a devoted member of Unity, a fervent Toastmaster, and lifelong Canadian. Please welcome.
Nancy, what a good introduction and thorough. I am today here as a Canadian and as a member, happily a member of Unity of London since way back in 2012. You'll see a lot of shirts today. You might remember this one. This is a shirt that many of us wore, not just one, but several pride parades. On that shirt. That's what unity is, and this is what unity represents. We see the face of God in every person. What does that say to you? What does that say to you as a Canadian? How do you live that? That is an almighty, huge understanding. To see the face of God in everyone. We just celebrated Canada Day, but many of us chose, instead of celebrating, to reflect. Stop means to be a Canadian. Time ago, I bought this shirt. It just didn't seem to. First of all, I don't feel very wild. I know that freedom is very costly. But that message perhaps represents what many of us used to think when they first came to Canada, that they were wild and free. First, they were not wild. They were using the land in the best way possible. In 1876, our Canadian government decided to pass the Indian Act, which took away the rights of Indigenous people to vote. It was only in 1960 when Indigenous people received finally. Interestingly, in that year, Prime Minister John Diefenbaker stood up in the House of Commons that began, "I am Canadian." I invite you to listen to these words and ask yourself, is every Canadian in our country right now? I am a Canadian, free to speak without fear, free to work own, free to stand up for what I think right, to oppose what I believe wrong, free to choose those who shall govern my country. This freedom pledge to uphold for myself and all mankind. Stirring enough that I used part of that in my speech in Parliament Hill. And yet, stop and think about it. Do we really, as a country, enable, appreciate, and celebrate others to worship in our city of London when someone deliberately jumped and killed members of a Muslim family? That was not respecting the right to worship. Or down the street. If this message is uncomfortable for you, I agree. It is uncomfortable to face truth. It is uncomfortable to realize that the residential schools that started 96 forced 150,000 Indigenous children and youth to leave their families, to give up their culture, their language, their traditions, their way of. Hair was cut off. I'm not going to go on because I'm sure you've read about this. Hair was not cut off viciously by nuns and priests. What does this say about love in our? And the volunteerism says, I am the patient experience. How patient to be in the face of injustice? When does patience end and actions take over? Are we to be content with passionate speeches? They might with our government doling out thousands of dollars to our Native people. I don't know if you realize that in 1996, June 21st was declared National Indigenous Peoples Day. Some of you know that. I am ashamed that not only did I know it, not recognize or celebrate it, but I also didn't know that Inuit, First Nations, and Métis represent 1.7 million people in Canada. $1.7 million people. Several years ago, well, about 3 years ago, it seems like several years ago, my stepdaughter sent me this shirt. It says, "Practice kindness." And I thought, I'm pretty kind. I don't need a shirt that says "Practice kindness." But then I think about my friends who are kind every day in every way and also patient. So we all can practice more kindness. Thanks to my friend, Nancy Youngson. I wore this orange shirt on July 1st. And with Lois and Nancy and 10,000 other people, we met in Victoria Park. Now, it was not much to ask people to wear an orange shirt. That was a small sacrifice for people who normally would wear red and white on Canada Day. But someone ran into me, a son of a former friend. And guess what he said about the orange? He was dressed in red with a red and white Canadian flag mask, a red and white hat. And he said, "I hate orange." And he said, "I told one of these organizers that I hate orange." And I thought, oh. It was just a small but meaningful gesture. And when I reached Oxford and Richmond and looked backwards and saw a sea of orange shirts, I saw solidarity. I saw people who had chosen on Canada Day to solidly stand together, to say by their very presence, we honor, we respect, we love the survivors of residential schools. I walked behind a woman for some time with a big long braid down her back, but the braid did not cover up the photos stapled to her shirt. Young men, a few women, aging from probably early 20s to late 70s, all survivors of residential schools. And you may say, well, good, they survived, that's good. Oh, we wish. They carry the trauma of intergenerational suffering to this day. Have you ever, in your impatience or your judgmental nature, listened to or even said yourself, "Oh, Indians," first of all, using the word Indians, they're drunkards, they can't keep a job, they overshadow all of our prison system. Well, guess what? Our Native people, our Indigenous people, our Canadians, are representing the scars of all those years in residential schools. One of the founders of the whole walk said this: we need to learn hope, healing, love, kindness, and unity as we move forward in Canada. I want to say that again, because this is what we do in hopefully in Washington. We learn hope, like physical healing, spiritual healing. And you don't know when you look at somebody if they have scars or where. You don't know if you see a smiling, perky face and somebody going, yay, 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 if that person might not be covering up their suffering. Our theme this month is about understanding. And understanding goes way, way beyond the external. Understanding is looking at a face and saying, you read it. And God, by the way, may look different to different people. God may be Buddha. God may be Muhammad. God may be the divine essence. When we say we see the face of God, we are saying we see love, we see hope, we see healing, we see unity and kindness. That is what it's about. How do we move forward? What is our next step? Because much as I love the march, much as I thought, oh, yay, I'm doing a big sacrifice. I'm giving up my red and white, and I am in solidarity with 10,000 people, and that felt great. But it sure wasn't enough. It was only the tiny speck of a beginning. I told Nancy about a sign that I saw, and I said to her, oh, it was the Canadian flag, and it had this message. Well, I walked up to the house and knocked on the door because I wanted the sign, because I was so great to put on our lawn. Well, nobody answered the door. There was a go barking his little. So I took out a card, and one of the Louise Hay, the prayer and meditation people will know what I mean. One of those that was about love. And I said, could you please phone me and let me know where you got this sign? I haven't heard back. So I tried to few words. It was not a Canadian flag at all. It had red and white on it, and it was beside Canadian flags. And if you see some of them say, together we are strong. So I say to you, together, is that us in Unity of London, our little cozy group? Is that our family, friends? No, no, no. That's together. Everybody. We are strong. The austerity that requires some sacrifices that are comfortable. Oh, I feel so young. Might shake us up. You ready to be shaken? You ready to step forward out of your comfort zone? Well, you might be wondering, what did the sign say? All right. It said, I hope fear and indifference. Because really, when you think about hate, what is it? Isn't hate based on fear and indifference? Years ago, whoo, does make me feel quite ancient. Parliament Hill, I gave quite a dramatic speech with my garden shears. I didn't bring them on. Imagine shears. Imagine a multicolored Afghan. Imagine me there Are you as friendly and loving with your Muslim neighbors, your neighbors from India, neighbors from Africa, as you are the people that you're closest to? Just a question. As members of Unity of London, are you the patient experiencing someone else? Are you saying, well, what's wrong with our government? The Indigenous plight. Or are you a martyr and a banner waver? I did a job. I did my duty. Or when it comes straight down to it, as a member of Unity of London on a positive path of spiritual learning, spiritual living, can you say, in everyone, and the principles in unity enable me to be a loving, supportive, ever learning Canadian? Let us in our time of meditation today, I invite you to reflect on what it means for you to be a Canadian. What it means for you to express love, light, and kindness in every interaction you have with every person you meet. In the next few moments, I invite you to think of a way that you can increase your understanding of our Indigenous population. Think of a way that you can express respect and loving care for members of our Indigenous or Muslim or Black or Asian members in our community. Consider ways that your words and your actions will represent you as a Unity member, living love every day. I'll let you know when our time is fulfilled. And remember to breathe in and out. Our daily prayer and meditation, people know that we often stretch before our meditation. We always open up our hearts and minds to divine wisdom. So if you want to stretch, please stretch. If you want to open out, please open up your arms, welcoming insights and understanding. as we return to our Unity of London service, may we do so with a feeling of enlightenment, of openness, and of great gratitude and appreciation for each other. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen.
Well, thank you very much, Pauline, for a really thought-provoking message that that was just very thought-provoking. The fact that our Indigenous population comprises 1.7 million people. And really, as you said, hope, healing, love, kindness, and unity. Those are what we really need to call forth in ourselves, and really call ourselves to task as to whether we are really expressing those in our lives towards our neighbors, as you pointed out. So thank you. Thank you for that very kind and thoughtful message today. Thank you.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu es l'image de Dieu. I hold you in my heart. Tu es l'image de l'amour. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. Tu sei la luce di Dio. I hold you in my heart. Tu sei il volto dell'amore. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of love. The face of love. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are my family. You are my family. You are the face of love. The face of love. You are the face of God. The face of God. I hold you in my heart. You in my heart. You are a part of me. A part of me. You are the face of God. The face of God. You are the face of God. Eres la luz de Dios. I hold you in my heart. Eres la cara del amor. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face You are the face of God. You are the face. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. L'image de Dieu. You are the face. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. You are the face. You are the face of God. You are the face. You are the face.
We take a moment to thank the source of our abundance, knowing many allow the supply to flow through them to Unity of London in the form of financial gifts and tithes. We thank those who give spontaneous gifts as they have a call upon their heart to do so. We see you receiving spontaneous spurts of prosperity as the energy returns to you. We thank those who give regularly in the form of a tithe. We see your understanding of the flow growing abundantly. We thank those who are new to us for giving to us of your time. We appreciate you and hope you come back and consider being a member of our wonderful community. And for those of you who are giving to Unity of London, you can now e-transfer your donation to Unity of London at hotmail.com, which ensures that every cent that you donate, the full amount comes to Unity with no service charges. So today, our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me. I am the light. The love of God enfolds me. I am the love. The power of God protects me. I am the power. The presence of God watches over me. I am the presence. Wherever I am, God is and all is well. Yay, God. Now our peace song. So everyone have a great day today. And for those of you who wish to hang on and give in, relay any comments that you have about that we would be comments. Anyone have anything that they'd like to contribute today? Well, Paul, oh, Catherine, thank you.
Hi, Pauline. Hi, Wilda. Great job,
Hi, Paul.
Wilda.
Thank you, Catherine.
Pauline, you know how much I love challenge to come up higher, to be more of who I came here to be. I have felt so richly blessed to be Canadian since I was a wee child. And I still feel richly blessed to be a Canadian. And I think I've ridden on the shoulders of that pride to be Canadian, and proud to be known as a peace country, and proud to be known as this and as that are all really positive things. But we've slipped a lot, haven't we? We really need to stand up together. And I love your challenge today for the march and wearing orange. I didn't hear anything of that up here, but what a wonderful beginning. I like to just say that if we keep taking the lid off what's hidden, we can come together and we can heal it. Much for me anymore. Hope is not an action word. I really like action words: to heal, to participate, to come together in unity, that kind of stuff. So your message meant so much to me today, Pauline. I was quite emotional, and I'm living up here now in the spirit of, believe me, you can feel it, you can sense it. Wilda knows what I'm talking about. It's palpable. So very timely talk for me personally, and I thank you for the challenge. And I am definitely seeking out ways where I can do something to bring people together. This that needs to be healed. So thank you, Pauline. That was a great message.
Thanks, Catherine.
Peggy?
I reiterate very much of what Catherine said, of course, and what you've expressed today, Pauline, were some of the thoughts that have been going through my head in the last month or so, of the horrific things that have been happening here and have been discovered. And is this going to be just about canceling Canada Day celebrations and wearing orange shirts, or are people really truly this challenge to be understanding and to try and make a difference? We can't change the past, but we can certainly change the future. So thank you so much for that very gave today.
Thanks, Peggy.
Nancy?
The organizers were really clear that they weren't wanting to cancel Canada Day at all in all celebrations, but what they did want is this to be a walk of remembrance. And so they asked that, I should have, like in my post on Facebook, I should have said walk rather than march, because they quiet. The most moving part for me, besides just being part of the spirit of it all, is they stopped at the corner of Oxford and Richmond. They formed a circle and they released orange smoke, the little ones. And it was so, like, even now I just get goosebumps. It was so moving. It was just, acknowledging those little lives, and, that were there. Amazing that all hope, but idea of those are the little, on the souls of the little ones that were lost. And they just said they just wanted to take this as part of our, this is the time of fact deal with, move forward, not to say the bad things that have happened with you only, but the good stuff about Canada too is that we acknowledge it and we incorporate it as part of it. We've got so much good. And I mean, what other country, there was a comment from a First Nations person, what other country, racism and war? At least in Canada, we're looking at it now, and we got, and moving forward. And for me, you gave that message, because I have lost 2 friends to residential schools. They were survivors, but they weren't survivors. One ended in suicide and the other one in And, you know, I knew them personally. One was a co-worker actually, and one was attending grad school. And so it was very important. I saw that intergenerational trauma as well, because neither one of these people would ever have had children, you know. And another one, yeah, there's so Indigenous community, the intergenerational, like because their parents couldn't function as parents because they were traumatized, and then the next generation left a bend, and it just went on and on. So it was very important to acknowledge this and bring it out in the open. And I just didn't know the numbers, even though I knew about residential schools from 1970, you know, because of the Friends and stuff. I had no idea about the numbers, you know. So it's quite shocking. So thank you for the message.
Thanks, Nancy.
Okay, anyone else?
I did meet someone right at Oxford and Richmond, where Nancy mentioned the orange. And I was standing in and this woman came, and she was someone who I had met in Women in Business. I knew she was Indigenous, but I never thought of her as being Indigenous, if you know what I mean. She gave me the biggest, longest, most loving hug I've had ever in my drive in London. Remember when she instigated that. She started that. So she's giving me this huge hug, and this little boy is standing beside her, and he said, "Can I have a hug too?" And then he said, "What's in your bag?" I was carrying my circle of friends unity bag. It was just was very touching. And I think that the organizers, and it was called a healing walk. Nancy's right, it was not a march. Turtle Village Healing Walk, or Turtle Island Healing Walk. I know that organizers as I got to the bridge over Rideout Street, there was a man with, I did take his picture, but I couldn't show the pictures. And he had no shirt on, and he had an orange headband, and he climbed up part of the bridge and was waving and hollering, and everybody around me was hollering back at him. And it just brought some exuberance and some life. It was just an experience I will always remember. And just so you know, I'm a very proud Canadian, and I do appreciate all the wondrous, amazing Canada makes all the time, and all the goodness and the kindness that is in our country. We just need to build on that.
Okay, so Paula, you had your hand up. Please unmute yourself, okay?
Yes, I just wanted to say, born in England, I became aware of Native people through cowboys and Indians, came over, discoveries about them. Going to a powwow was quite an experience, wasn't quite what it's been really interesting. My children grew up with 2 or 3 Native Indian people, Native Americans, and they played hockey with them. Both sometimes had a little trouble there. It did get a little rough in hockey, but that's Canada, isn't it? Anyway, I'm proud. I'm proud to have my roots in England and to be a Canadian, and to have spent time talking to children about Canada Day, which I did when I was younger, and enthusiastic about it, and taking it with me on my travels. A universal citizen rather than just a Canadian. We have to keep going, don't we? Thank you.
Thanks, Paula. Anyone else today have any further comments? Nancy?
Just one more. Muslim community, they were there. We had the remembrance for them and the family. There's one group from one of the mosques, and it actually, you know how we said we North, when we the mosque, and the guys had orange armbands on and everything. It was really quite touching. They were, the Muslim communities all interspersed in the crowd, and you know, the women in the hijab, there's probably other women that were Muslim that were there that weren't wearing a hijab or niqab, even women with a niqab. And so that was really amazing too. Like they just felt, of course we have to show up. This is all of us. This is us together. So they had the 100% sense of community and solidarity. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And there were also Sikh men passing out water. We got down to Warncliffe, and there were men with turbans passing out water. It was truly, it wasn't.
And it was just very spontaneous. It wasn't like they advertised it a lot. I just chant across it. So that's why I didn't post anything much on it. Yeah. Hoped for 215 people. The organizers hoped for 250 people. 10,000. So
Wow.
Throw in,
yeah.
I love their prayer that love for all, none. Could we not just try to incorporate that as a little mantra for the next while?
Yeah.
So this is about all people, all religions, all love for all of that. It's so simple. It speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. Well, thank you so much for all of your input and just a really remarkable day here today. Everybody enjoy themselves, whatever you are up to this afternoon. Just blessings. Have a great week. And remember, unity. That's the mantra for our week. Have a good
Right.
one, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Wilda.
Thanks, Will.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Beulah.
Now I've got it.
Good to see you, Paula, too.
Thank you. I'm going.
Hello, goodbye.